Hey family, how you guys doing? Good, I hope. Welcome to Phie.Love Intuitive Conversations. I hope you guys are doing good today. And if you like my content, please do like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any negativity, keep it on your side of the street. It won't be acknowledged. So, yeah, today I'm feeling a little tired. I didn't sleep so well last night. My energy was all over the place. My mind was running, but I can't exactly put my finger on what exactly it was running over. What did I want to talk about today? Today I'd like to get into a little bit on the importance of being alone sometimes, spending time alone. Why is it so important to be alone? It seems like we live in a world right now where being alone with your own thoughts is one of the top things to be avoided. Why? Spending time alone is one of the biggest parts about us being on this earth and being human. I mean, if you've ever questioned your existence or why you go through what you go through and how you're supposed to learn and grow and move on from your situations, if you don't spend any time alone to sit, reflect, write, think, ask questions, try and view certain things that you've come from, currently existing in, from a different perspective, or ask yourself the necessary questions about certain situations in your life and why you go through them, depending on your belief system. Earth is a school. Earth is a school where humans get to learn how to be human, how to operate from a place of love, how to elevate and move forward out of their circumstances, how to master both sides of life, rich, poor, loneliness, being around people, hot, cold. So if we're in a school and we find ourselves faced with all types of challenges that require us to sit, require us to reflect, require us to question, require us to gain new perspectives, all of these things that we're here to do as human beings that tie perfectly into our capabilities as human beings, tie perfectly into situations we find ourselves going through. These are all things that the system somehow does their utmost best to distract us from and keep us hooked into something that is a distraction, be it TV, cell phone, programming into us that we constantly, that being alone is weird. No, being alone is natural. Being alone is necessary. Being alone is needed. And I don't mean alone where you're constantly grabbing your cell phone to check what the one or the next person has said. No, I mean actually being alone, contemplating, reflecting, trying to understand your life, trying to understand your position, trying to understand the cycles you go through, trying to understand why there are people, certain people around you who are there positioned a certain way in your life. Why do you have the parents that you have? What lessons are you supposed to learn? Are you supposed to learn how to be more like them? Are you supposed to learn and grow out of the cycles that you see and experience them going through? there are bigger reasons as to why we need to be alone, so that we can also figure out what it means to actually heal ourselves and not always put it in the hands of something or someone on the outside of us. But we live in a world that programs us to view loneliness and view being detached from people for specific periods of time, or even just having to go through the feeling of being lonely or detached for whatever reason as something negative, and to be labeled as some sort of outcast. I mean, the general world tends to single people out who are authentic and see the benefits and of being alone confidently as something to be feared, something to label as there's something wrong with that person, they're going through depression, they're something. It just makes people uncomfortable to see somebody comfortable in their own mind, their own space, taking the time to be on their own and not constantly distracted, surrounded around noise and people or some sort of activity happening around them. What's your relationship and inner feelings that come up when it comes to the idea of being alone and on your own? And when you are alone and on your own, is it uncomfortable? Have you ever asked yourself why you're uncomfortable on your own, or why you get agitated, why your mind starts going crazy and making you think that the world doesn't like you, want you, or need you to be a part? Or are these little feelings that just begin once you're alone and you've been so programmed into shutting all that down that the moment it even props up a little inside of you, you're quickly jumping to remedy the situation because of the bit of discomfort it brings? What benefits do you see to being alone? Have you ever seen it as a beneficial thing for you? And when you are alone, how do you utilize that time? Are you spending that time alone pacifying yourself in some sort of way with alcohol, weed, drugs, smoking, watching TV, binge watching series, anything that just somehow makes you not think or feel like you're alone? Or when you're alone, are you taking the time to reflect, to know what it is to feel certain emotions on your own without the input or energy of someone else around or influence? When you're alone, are you comfortable in the questions that you ask yourself and the decisions that you make? Or do the questions that come up within you when you're alone make you uneasy and immediately either push you to want to distract yourself from dealing with it, or put you into a place of having to pick up the phone and ask someone else and bounce it off someone else's mind so that you can, give yourself an opinion from the outside that feels more secure because someone else agrees with it? Being alone helps us also understand, hear ourselves, and move into a place of what it really means to be dependency free in your thinking, in your behavior, Being alone gives you a chance to reflect on your own behaviors and things that you might be doing that are a result of your raising, programming, what you've been told is right or wrong. Things that you haven't come to decide on your own whether they're right or wrong, but they feel right because people you and energies you exist around support it. But anything and everything that you feel and think about or experience when you're alone, has it all been stuff that's been shoved into you over your lifetime, or is it things that you've actually gone into, researched on your own and decided, you know what, I'm going to be this way, implement this for myself because I've researched it, I know what it's about, I've pondered on it, I've spent time alone with it, I've bounced it back and forth, I've trialed and errored it for myself, and this is something I'm going to make a part of my life and my own unique legacy of being me. How long are you actually able to sit by yourself alone and look out a window staring towards the sun and just ponder and think about your life? Why is that a negative thing? Sorry. Why is that a negative thing? In those moments, you also learn and understand and see, look within yourself and determine what needs to go. What do you need to purge? What is it that is actually stressing you out? What is it that's giving you anxiety? What exactly is occupying your mind that maybe doesn't need to be occupying your mind? Is it your problems? Is it someone else's problems? Is it the issues you pick up on your phone, on the news, that are ruffling your feathers and somehow you're making a part of your own life and your own experience when really there is no need to? Purging those kinds of things would actually make your experience a little bit more peaceful and enjoyable on this earth and give you a little bit more space to learn and grow out of certain things and change certain habits and cycles. Get closer to what's really important and not what you've been told to view as important because it helps you be a part of a certain society and group or system that you've been groomed into believing this is what you need to be a part of. So I'll talk a little bit more about this again at some point. I'm a big fan of spending a lot of time on my own. I learn so much. I open my mind to researching and reading and really getting into what it is that I like. What have I grown into? What have I grown out of? Where have I come from? Where can I share my own insights, that are a result of so many things that I need to give myself credit for, that the world won't. And realize that I've worked through and come through and conquered and battled. We're not here to just keep outputting and pouring our minds and our energies into something else, someone else, or a system. That's what they want us to believe life is all about. What about you? What about your insides? What about trying to find a different way to have a different experience of yourself on the inside and not one that is in a constant cycle of negativity that we all just from a young age are told we have to be comfortable in and told that life needs to be a fight and a struggle? What if we actually worked out all those things during our time alone and realized that life is a struggle, but not to the extent that the bullshit keeps coming and that I don't keep, or that I don't learn and grow out of my experiences, yet I feel like I'm experiencing the same thing over and over in my life that just comes wrapped up in a little bit of a different packaging. Where do I need to change? Maybe the things that are being prescribed to me to remedy my situations from the people around me who are groomed by the same system, or the system itself, are not really the remedy that's right for me. But in order to recognize those things and unpack it and separate it and realize where the different lines and boundaries are inside between all these issues within me, I need to spend time alone. I need to hear my thoughts and not care about what the next person has to say, think, or is doing to remedy something that I hope and pray they're also understanding and going through. Because regardless, each of us, we can have similar situations, but because of how we've grown up, how we've been raised, where we come from, how we perceive things, a situation might sound or seem similar on the outside through conversation and trying to relate with somebody, but we all process it and apply it and harbor it within ourselves a little bit differently. In those regards, for ourselves, we need to work our own magic. So take some time and spend it alone, guys. Don't be afraid of hearing yourselves and facing your past and healing your inner child, which I definitely will talk about at some point, and being compassionate and with yourself and speaking kindly to yourself, and when healing, trying not to hold yourself to the standards and being very judgmental on yourself inside and holding yourself to the standard of society, because then facing yourself becomes really hard. But if you can look at yourself inside now with a new perspective as an adult, and some of the things that you went through that maybe you don't want to deal with, or that come up when you're alone and you want to run away from them, how about trying to speak to yourself and handle yourself from a more caring and compassionate place, the same way you would a little child, the same way that you as a child deserve to be handled and spoken to. You can handle and speak to yourself and your inner being that way because you deserve it. How else are you going to heal if you're going to handle yourself internally so harshly? And no one but you is judging yourself. I'm gonna close it off there, and I hope this resonated with you. And if it did and you haven't, oh, you know what, let me pull a card from Ascendant Masters. I'll just pull one sorry, and see what they gotta say as a support, or for whoever else is look, focus upon your strength. I think that's nice, right? Focusing upon your own strength doesn't require anybody else but for you to spend alone time with yourself and be good to yourself and speak kindly to yourself and recognize and feel good about your own strengths. They don't have to match what the world is saying out there. Your strengths are unique to you, and those are the things you feel good about and that you build on, and can only do that during your alone time to decide how you are going to work on it without anyone else's input or energy coming onto that. Your strengths are your own. From the Ascendant Master Apollo. So let's see what the book has to say. This card reminds you to focus upon your strengths and not upon any perceived weakness. Your strengths could include your loving heart, pure intentions, people skills, hobbies, or something that you excel in, even if your talents still need polishing. These are strengths and assets. The more you bless and appreciate your strengths, the stronger they'll grow. If you focus upon so-called weaknesses, they will grow. This card comes to you as a reminder of the importance of viewing yourself with compassion and love. Anytime you find yourself thinking or feeling poorly about yourself, focus upon your strengths instead. Additional meanings of this card: use daily positive affirmations to lift your energy and faith. Speak of yourself in positive terms. Begin an exercise program to build and tone your muscles. This is a message of love or healing about a brother or a brother figure. So yeah, guys, I hope this really resonated with somebody, and if it did, please, if you haven't liked, shared, or subscribed on your way in, please do so on your way out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.